Welcome, Trina.
Well, hello. Hi, Chip. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Great to be here and some wonderful sessions. I love the fact that everyone is excited and focused on what I think is an important motto for all of us who do partnering, and that is really being proud to partner, right? Because if you're in this business, it's a lot of work to align all the different companies and partners that you work with, so you really got to love it. And I know I do, and it sounds like the former presenters do as well.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely. It's a cult thing, right?
It sure is.
We're all in,
it sure is.
we love partners. So really excited for this session. Trina Horner is, and we spent time, just in preparation. And I know this is going to, Trina, you always bring a lot of energy to this, the topics and the conversation. And Trina has an incredible background. So Trina is, I mentioned it earlier, but Trina is Global Technology Alliance Director for Global Technology Partners and Strategic Partnerships at Verizon. Trina has been with Verizon for a little over 5 years. And then prior to that, Trina was with Microsoft for 15 years, also leading, partner and channel activities. And with Verizon, you're leading all the work that Verizon is doing with some of the hyperscalers and global technology partners and those areas, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I also handle the data center partners, right? So we have a great partnership with Equinix as well as the cloud partners. Our team, however, has a big focus across multiple tech partners. Believe it or not, Verizon is more and more a tech company in addition to being a telecommunications company. We have an entire business for many, many years that's been focused on really 5 areas, and one of them is fairly new. The security space, the advanced communication space, wireless and IoT, network, and of course, one of the hot topics we've talked about today, which is 5G, but we kind of put that in a bucket called multi-access compute and software-defined network. In fact, we just were announced in the market as a leader in the managed SD-WAN space. So you think of our business as moving up the stack, right, from the network up to the application side of the house when you think of our customers and our partners and how we look to engage.
Well, that's a great place to start, Trina. I wanted to start a little bit of just with, maybe you can talk a little bit about your team and the work that you're doing, and sort of the scope of all the work that you guys do.
Sure. In addition to really focusing on those 5 sort of pillars, we actually align our business by vertical industry as well. So our team is aligned that way. So we find that aligning the way that we sort of, in essence, go to market to our customers from a partner team perspective allows us to be more effective because, again, when you're proud to partner, you're also doing a lot of cross-group collaboration with marketing, contracts and sourcing, the sales teams, the executive alignment, the product management team, both the regional teams, US, EMEA, Asia Pac, as well as the vertical industry teams, right? So you've got to really understand how to align that way. So we've aligned our team that way, and it makes us much more effective. It also allows us to add the value in being the glue and the orchestrator and putting all the pieces together to get the end result, which is really incremental sales with our partners in hand and in tow. And so we have really a big focus around partners as a force multiplier to the business. And that's how we try to structure ourselves, and that's how we try to go to market.
So, I love that term, force multiplier, right? Because it helps you go into new geographies, bring new solutions, new innovations to customers. Tell me a little bit about, Trina, we've talked about how Verizon has this, major initiative that's really focused on customers around Verizon 2.0, right? And how does that, what's the impact of that and how do you bring partners into that to help, deliver the right customer experience?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because when we look at the ecosystem of partners, I really love what Julian talked about and Amit, right? It's a multi-partner partner play in the market now. You can't really run solo, so you really have to think thoughtfully around the different partner types, right? The partner archetypes that impact our business. So as we look at our Verizon 2.0, as we transform our business to really serve our customers, we look at multiple partner types that are important for us to think about in the ecosystem. SIs, systems integrators, resellers, tech partners, small underrepresented business. Those are like 4 big buckets. And then how does that work for us in terms of the right channel enablement, the right channel operations, and the right channel strategy? So we're putting a lot of focus on that as we evolve from where we were before to where we're going. And we're already starting to see the benefits of that and taking that approach. We've also said that for us as Verizon, it's really about not just us and our network, our selling up the stack solutions. It's really about partnering with partners who make the difference in the marketplace. So we are very lockstep into the innovative, impactful technologies that are lining for the future. And in some regard, we've kind of already been in some of those spaces. Obviously we talk about 5G, IoT, but security, advanced communications, AR and VR. We've been very deeply engaged, and we make sure we're focused on that. And then we look around the partner ecosystem and making sure how we deliver those services to customers, right? So very exciting time for us. We're really excited that Hans Vestberg has come over from Ericsson, where Eugene, who you heard earlier speak, is at. He's came over as our CTO. He's now our CEO, and he's really brought a change in culture as well as a focus around how we should look at partners, from sort of the top down. And everybody's on board because we know we've always been strong. Now we're really moving it to the next level, and we're doing much more focus around the customer, both commercial and enterprise and public sector, commercial enterprise and public sector. So we're very, very excited about this Verizon 2.0 transformation that we're going through.
It's a big effort.
It is, but we have 120,000 plus employees, and everybody sort of drank the Kool-Aid. When I talk about even the cultural change, Hans and our what we call Verizon V-teamers, we're also very seriously focused around how we show up around the community, how we serve solutions in this very difficult time during the pandemic. We've been on the forefront in providing the technologies for remote learning, telehealth, all of the things that allow our partners to come into play and us to work more heavily with them. And our business has grown, their business has grown, and we're also serving a very important need. Further, Hans has stepped out as one of the CEOs and our entire company around how do we address, and we've worked with our partners as well, the issues around racial equality and social justice. So we look at that entire piece of the human element, the community that we serve, enterprise, public sector, and really make an impact in the world as well.
Yeah, I mean that's a great point, and I know personally that you, Trina, have been active in engaging with teens and students around and mentoring teens and women around STEM topics.
Yeah, and I do that personally as well, but the company as well. We've been running a series of volunteer activities for kids with cancer, We're doing one tomorrow around the elderly. We have racial social justice mentoring programs and so forth, and we're encouraged to do that as employees. And we work with partners. We've got a big joint partner, volunteer event coming up with Never Give Up, which is focused around kids with cancer. So,
Wow.
when you think about our roles as partner leaders, it's really the whole, right? The whole company, the whole person, and the whole world that we can take an impact with. And when we do that, it draws us closer together. It also helps us work better together when we start actually doing the day job, which is building joint solutions that impact our customer business problems.
That's great. That's so. That's also inspiring, right? It's inspiring for the 120,000 employees that the company is behind so many really, really important initiatives as well. So I wanted to explore a little bit, Trina, about co-sell. Co-sell is such a hot topic these days that, the channel has been completely transformed, and, it's hard a lot of times for sort of VARs and resellers, distributors, to show that a lot of it's been commoditized to show that they're bringing value, and so everybody's looking for ways to work together to bring solutions to market and help sell. Could you talk a little bit about, sort of the co-sell model at Verizon and how you are executing on that and how you're measuring it and all those things?
Sure. Yeah, actually we have several models, and I'm sure any of the folks that are partner practitioners on the call work in this mode, right? There is the sell with motion, and then there's the sell through motion. Sell through meaning we're selling our partners products as a sell through, and they're selling our products as a sell through. Those are the buckets, right? And so, when we look at the business, we actually try to prioritize around who are the biggest partners making the biggest impact in their space, right? So you think security, you think advanced communications and cloud, right? There's the usual suspects, but then there are the ones that are emerging, right? So when we prioritize, we prioritize around first, what is the customer looking for in the various industries that we serve, because we go to market by vertical industry. Then we prioritize around which ones are the ones making the most impact to serve the needs of those customers. Then we align our strategies, our go-to-markets around those partners that are the most impactful. And, again, because we really are not about just sort of being a me too, and nor is the partner, we actually look for that differentiated offer that we can bring to the market that makes a difference. So that's notionally how we look at all of our partners in that SI, reseller, tech partners, and small underrepresented business. And then we can get very precise about even having very unique offers for a specific vertical industry. And we do that in a way that we try to be very simple, very precise, and try to accelerate to market. Because one of the things that many companies, and I've worked for 12 technology companies in my many decades in the business, they struggle with, and I won't say how many decades because,
we don't reveal.
One of the things we struggle with is that really it's like, we want a partner, but just taking the time to get a product to market can be a real challenge. So if it's going to take a year, 2 years, and the market's happening now, we've missed it. One of the things we've done well at Verizon is when we launched our Verizon network services for software-defined network and SD-WAN. We did something really cool there. What we said was, let's not just create a product that we think it needs to be. Let's go out and find out what the customer wants, right? The product team spent a few months, and again, it was very accelerated, agile, not let's take 2 years to study it. We focused on what does the customer want, and we built the assets and selected the partners who were best in class for security, for WAN optimization, to serve the needs for SD-WAN and SDN. Because it's our products and it's a managed service solution, the customer then gets to pick when they order the solution, the best-in-class partner.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really been a hot product. In fact, that's the one that IDC just in their market report ranked Verizon as a top partner. You know, a shout out to Ericsson as well, because of that product, the orchestration for that product is really Ericsson. So when Amit said, how do you make sure that you do P2P and you bring, sorry, it was Julian that said P2P, but then Amit talked about multi-partner. We actually look at that. That's a great example of multi-partner solution that we've brought to the market that's ahead of its time. And in some of our hyperscaler partners, we are in fact their only managed offer for network as a service for public cloud. So it's a very, very exciting, that's an example of some of the things we're trying to do differentiated. Another example is, you know, the fact that as we stepped out in 5G as a leader in the 5G space, we partnered with Amazon Web Services with their AWS wavelengths, first type of solution in the market that brings the cloud closer to the customer for edge, which means shorter response time, less latency, which is super important when you start talking about cloud applications and what customers are looking for in the public sector and commercial space. Very exciting partnership for us, and we have a number of those types of examples where we're hoping to lead and continue to provide value to our customers.
That's great. Trina, we haven't touched too much on 5G, on the IoT, you know, space and Industry 4.0. Talk a little bit about what that means to Verizon. I know it's one of your key pillars. Can you talk a little bit about sort of, let's dive into that a little bit. You know, what does that ecosystem look like? I know it's complex. How do you pull all the pieces together, and how do you work with partners in that space?
Yes, again, you know, we really look at the fact that, you know, when you look at 5G, there's multiple types of partners. It's the folks providing the actual capability on the ground, and then there's the actual applications. You know, Hans puts it really well, our CEO, and if you haven't had a chance, I always encourage people to go out and look at last year's CES keynote by Hans Vestberg, where he really talks about the 8 currencies of 5G, because it really kind of gets into what the differentiation really is around what Verizon's bringing to market and why there's such a need for those high bandwidth applications to make them real. So, you know, 5G makes IoT real. It makes cybersecurity even more real. It makes AR and VR more real. You think of an application like drones, right, that need that fast, you know, network in order to really be effective, right? When you think about telehealth, or you think about an example where brain surgeons, right, where they typically look at x-rays of a person's brain, and in order to operate up until this point, they have to kind of study the x-ray. Then when they go to do the operation, right, they have to remember what they saw on the x-ray to drill into somebody's head to find the right place to do the brain surgery. We are working, for example, with one of the top doctors who's created a business that allows that to, because of 5G, that allows this to happen, to overlay holographic so that the brain surgeon doesn't have to remember what he saw in the x-ray, but can be even more precise in doing that, you know, that surgery. So this is the kinds of different applications that you're going to see 5G enable. The different currencies that we're talking about, there's 8 of them. There's peak data rate, there's mobile data volume, there's mobility, there's the end-to-end latency itself of 5 milliseconds, there's the 99.9% reliability, there's the service development, there's the energy efficiency, and then connected devices. I said that really fast because there's, you know, more depth in each one of those components. But bringing those 8 currencies together is what it's making the difference for us in terms of how we think about 5G.
Well, I think the fact that you're able to weave both brain surgeons and drones into the same conversation this gives you a sense of how broad this whole topic is, and IoT, but then 5G as the enabling technology with the super high speed, connectivity. Really amazing.
Right, and partners pay a part of that, right? Because partners are bringing those innovative solutions that we can leveraging the platform. So very exciting time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Trina, this has been fantastic, and we do have some questions that have come in. So I think let's transition into some of the questions. And so Bernard asks, how do you prioritize where to start with so many solutions and business units? Good question. How do you prioritize?
Well, it's always a balancing act, because again, if any of you guys have been in partner game as long as I have, there's always companies who want to partner, and of course we want to partner with them. So one of the things we've done is we've actually put in place a intake form and process that says, in order for us to go forward with a partner, we want to make sure that we have all stakeholders on our side bought in, that it makes sense. And of course, the most important one is the product management team, the people who engineer and build the solutions. And then, of course, the sales organization and the pre-sales organization and the executive alignment. And then once we have that kind of buy-off, then we know, okay, now we can go forward, because it's not just about the beginning, but it's also about the end. How many times have you partnered with a partner, but no one really thought about what are we really trying to do in terms of the end game, sales? What's the real impact to the market? Not the business case, not who's strongest in the market, but what can we effectively sell once we have something to go to market? Because you can make so many false starts before you've wasted a lot of resources and time to really get kind of nowhere, which is the end, sales and revenue. So one of the things we try to do before we even go down the path, once we get all the executive alignment, is identifying what are we going to get for business? Who's going to carry a quota around a solution that we prioritize to sell? So it's that precise.
Great. Yeah, that's so. Okay, next question is, do you find customers, this is from Stephen, and by the way, if anyone would like to ask the question themselves, please do just raise your hand. Love to hear your voices as well. So Stephen asks, do you find customers are agreeable to co-sell model where there's a single primary responsible party?
Well, we really don't find very many situations where someone isn't responsible. We do a lot of managed services where we're the prime, but we also sub a lot as well, and that's both in the commercial and public sector space. Someone has to be responsible, right? Because customers are usually pretty clear on what happens if something doesn't work. So one of the things we try to do is be clear if there's a professional services engagement, because we have a very, very strong professional services organization, as well as sales teams. We try to make sure that we set the right expectations up front when we involve a partner, who owns what, and what the support model looks like going forward. Because ultimately, we want successful customers. We want customers to be successful with the solutions we're selling with partners.
So that goes back actually to the question earlier around how do you align the go-to-market with partners? I think that's you had a really terrific answer there. So one other question. So from Anna, Anna says, hello, Trina. Thank you for your presentation. How do you choose your partners?
Okay, so that's really, I'm in the tech partner side, and what we try to do, as I mentioned earlier, because we go to market in those 5 areas: advanced communications, network, software-defined network and multi-access compute, wireless and IoT, and security, we actually look at best-in-class partners, who's really making an impact in the market, and who are we going to be able to partner with and have effective engagement down to the end, right, which is the sales engagement in the field. We resell a lot of, in each one of those pillars, we resell a lot of those partners' products. We make sure that those are available for our field to sell. We have a whole deal registration process with some of those partners. Some of them that are not sell with, it's a little bit trickier because we have to set those expectations up front of how are we going to engage. But we prioritize around the customer needs, and we prioritize around the best in class in those 5 pillars. So, for example, in the cloud and data center space, top cloud providers, right? Microsoft, Google, Salesforce, Oracle, right? Top data center partners, Equinix, Digital Realty as an example, right? So we want to make sure that we are very partnered with them. And then we have a tiering partner process, right? There's the others, right? That may be tier 2, tier 3. And it's also based on that end to end with stakeholder buy-in that we have across our organization, and who's going to step up to make sure we have the right commitments, the right marketing resources and dedication to make sure we have the right collateral and events and so forth. So it goes very deep when we go to the go-to-market so that we can be successful. So that's how we prioritize, and then that's how we match that with the stakeholder buy-in.
Against the partners. Terrific, terrific. We actually had one more question come in, and so this is from David saying, can you talk more about key metrics, overall ecosystem value, ecosystem
Yes.
sourced leads, and ecosystem sourced and influenced opportunities?
Yes, great. I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things that we try to do, and I'm sure many of you do, right? You do partner business plans, you do quarterly business reviews to drive accountability of the metrics that you've decided based on a specific target industry or horizontal. That's kind of the sort of table stakes. We do that, and KPIs are set based on that. Sometimes we even go a step further, and if there's something innovative or a newer area where it may be like an emerging partner where we know that there's no there yet, there's like 0 revenue, that we say, okay, what's reasonable for us to think about in terms of 2-3 year projections? Is it monthly recurring revenue? What should that look like? Is there before we go big, let's go small and target a industry that we know that we both are good at, that we can set a KPI around in terms of number of deals, number of lighthouse wins, and those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. And I think the other part of the question was what's the last part of the question, Chip?
So ecosystem value, and then sourced leads, sourced and influenced.
Right. So sourcing and leads. So when you think about our transformation at Verizon, we are humbly really learning to do partnering better. So, I wouldn't say, and by the way, having come from all these other companies before I came here, I wouldn't say anyone's got a leg up on the best way to partner. Because when I keep talking about the end, where the rubber meets the road is the sales teams working together. So we're trying to figure out how to work better there, because you can have all the solutions in the world, you can have all the programs in the world, you can have all the KPIs in the world. But if the sellers don't know how to sell together, then you fall down. So when you're talking about this world of multi-partners, it gets even more complex. It's not just one-on-one, it could be 1 and 3, right? 1 with 3 partners or 4 partners working together to win large bids. That's where we're spending a lot of time on programmatic engagement, how to have the conversation, how to drive a sales call strategy to win together. And then also walking in with the expectation that there are times that we're going to be competitors, and then there's times that we are not. Let's get that out in the open and establish what the guardrails are that we can be successful.
Trina, this has been fantastic. Really appreciate you sharing all of your knowledge and experience, both from Verizon and Microsoft and others. And really just fantastic. Thank you so much for joining today and for sharing your insights.
Well, thank you so much, Chip, and to everybody, remember this: be proud to partner and go forward and make it happen.